Intersection Magazine Podcast.
Welcome to Intersection Magazine Podcast. In this episode, we're covering the May 2024 issue of our magazine. It's the 8th volume and the 10th issue. So we'll be covering the second part of a piece we shared by Alex Danco on social capital and Silicon Valley. Second, we'll make some suggestions for those of you who are looking for a phone camera. We're sharing a piece that I found on the Phoenix browser. Third, we'll be talking about Web3 wallets and which one you should use. This is a piece or an article by a young man called Juan Leal. In our usual collaboration with Founders Freedom, we're sharing a piece where they talked about the difference between a board of directors and a board of advisors, which is the best choice for your company. And then finally, the ICT Association cocktail and my perception of the event and some notes that I took from the event. Then we'll have the usual sections that we cover, which is a book recommendation. We'll have a movie for the month. We'll also have micro poetry. And this is a section in which I used to have some spiritual thoughts or ideas, but trying to see if I can transform it into a place where I can share some poetry. And then we'll have usually have a place for restaurant or restaurant suggestions, so I'm transforming that to cover a little bit more about what I do personally, whether that's cooking, baking ideas, or some useful stuff I find in social media about baking or cooking hacks. So thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Those of you who have not yet subscribed to our magazine, you can do so directly using my socials. Just let me know. And will cost you about $24, or for those who are in Uganda, about 89,000 Uganda shillings for the whole year, and you'll get 12 issues sent to your WhatsApp or to your email. We'd love for you to subscribe, as I had said before, and of course to engage with you on our social media and the other channels that are available. Once again, thank you for subscribing. So in the first few pages of the magazine, of course, I'll share with you some of the opportunities that we offer or that I offer. I've been in the web design, web hosting business now for quite a while. I got introduced to web design quite a long time ago, maybe over 25 years ago. But web hosting was introduced to me when I got to Uganda through a contact. Introduced me to the opportunity or the option of becoming a reseller and hosting my own sites. So that's part of the package I've created for those who want to learn web design. I not only will teach you how to design web pages, I'll also walk you through the process of hosting web pages. I'll take you through basic design of web pages using some of the older tools that were built in the early days of web design. I'll take you through HTML or hypertext markup language. I think the one we have now is called HTML5. I'll take you through some basic Java, some basic CSS or cascading style sheets. I'll take you through what they call what you see is what you get editors. Those are some of the initial methods in which people used to design web pages. I'll take you through what we have now, or at least some of what's evolving into content management systems. I'll take you through creation of e-commerce sites. Just an introduction to some of the basics, but for those of you who wish to dive a little deeper, you might be interested in learning a few more languages. And so that's what I offer. But in my view, at competitive rates, but it would be great if you are interested, if you could bring your own laptop. We have also, of course, our table of contents, where we cover what's in the magazine. Now, for the piece that we shared on social capital, I wanted to share some of the insights that I got from this article. It just stood out to me. It was recommended by a friend on a different platform. And so it's just basically a rewrite, or I'm just sharing the notes or the information as written by Alex Danco. One of the things he says is social capital is anti-fragile. It's either chaotic and growing or orderly and shrinking. And he shares his insights from War and Peace. And I like authors who make you appreciate the bigger picture, make you read deeper and appreciate how certain unexpected parts of literature can be connected to principles that might be useful in the workplace. And this is what Alex Danco has done in his Substack, I believe. Then they also talk about the social fog war, the ability or the idea to be in a group allows you to scale massively. So I suppose in social circles or with social capital, you tend to get this happening a lot, where people feel like they're experts, or they feel like they're the millionaire club or the billionaire club, and they charge for people to get access to those particular inner circles. And so he talks about some of this, and he also shares a golden rule of Silicon Valley. He mentions some ideas about a social contract that exists in Silicon Valley and distinguishes it from other ecosystems. The piece we share by Founders Freedom is also interesting. Are you looking for a board of advisors, or are you looking for a board of directors? And what is your best choice? This is useful for those who are in the startup space, because sooner or later those who want to invest in you are going to need you to have certain structures in place. This is also useful for those who are part of the ecosystem, whether you're incubators or accelerators or hubs, how to structure your services to help startups that may not necessarily have teams that are large enough to accommodate some of these needs, advisors and directors. We also have 2 books that we offer: a survival kit for effective communication, as well as a glossary of terms and acronyms. You hear lots of people throw around terms which they may not necessarily have a clear understanding of: conflict of interest, competitive advantage, comparative advantage. Lots of terms that consultants might appreciate or at least those who are going to get into certain fields might appreciate. We also share some of the costs for advertising in our magazine and as well as advertising the podcast, so you're welcome to do that. We also have costs for space in the magazine. The option, of course, to learn how to play chess. There are quite a number of academies now in Uganda that do that, so you might also benefit from connecting with your community wherever you are listening from. We share our web design and host costs. We simplify by differentiating between basic sites and complex sites, and then walk you through the process that we use when we're talking to our clients. We share the piece on Web3 Wallets, what are smart contracts, and the different types of wallets. A list of the top Web3 wallets, at least as far as this article is concerned. We also share some local developers and some of the tools that they're putting together, as well as, of course, some extensive notes from the author of the article. Our choice of film was, I believe, a Korean film called Ballerina. Really feels quite a lot like the John Wick trilogy, at least in terms of how the action is set up. Lots of interesting Asian or Korean takes that make it interesting and quite a thrill to watch. My book recommendation is slightly different from what I normally cover. I look at two books that talk about faith or religion, or what is referred to as revival. Some prefer to call it renewal, but it's really an idea that people that subscribe to certain parts of the faith here celebrate. And this is important to discuss because you'll find quite a number of people in these movements and are descendants, or rather people in leadership positions right now are descendants of people that were part of the revival movement. And I've actually suggested that the religious awakening that took place in California might indirectly be responsible for quite a lot of the creativity that has arisen out of that area. Whether that religious fervor has come from visits to Asia by, for example, the Beatles, or visits to Asia by Steve Jobs, interaction with Eastern mysticism, and things of that nature. So although these are exclusively discussions about the Anglican faith, I think there are bigger questions that we could look at when we look into technological advancement and its relationship with spiritual or religious awakening. We also share some of the pieces that we covered, or notes from the magazines from the last 4 months. For those of you who may have missed out on that, the piece I shared on phones and cameras was from Christine Romero Chan. She's a staff writer for Digital Trends. And it's really an exploration of camera types or camera capabilities in megapixels, front-facing, back-facing cameras, white balance, exposure, color profiles, brightness, dynamic islands. I suppose the iPhone 15 and the Google Pixel 8 Pro both have dynamic islands. In terms of nits, nits pick, it's 2,600 for the Samsung Galaxy, 2,400 for the Google Pixel 8, and 2,000 for the iPhone 15. Different charging capabilities and wireless charging capabilities in terms of speed. They also talk about the body, but aluminum body for iPhone 15. It's a stainless steel body for iPhone 14 Pro. And then questions about the types of chips that are in iPhone 14, Samsung Galaxy, OnePlus 12, iPhone 14 Pro, and Google Pixel 8 Pro. So these are some of the things that the author wrote about, but that I used a table to summarize for those who want quick information. For the ICT LAN cocktail, talked about some of the things I noticed about the leadership structure and what it's like to have a lady in the lead table. Talked about location and attendance. Went into topics of discussion. I was a little bit more interested in some of the ideas that exist within the space and those implications of those ideas. Especially, many of you have heard about the idea that data is the new oil. So I shared some things that many of you may ignore when you're logging into news websites in terms of some of the data they're collecting and some of the data that they're sharing. I also shared a poem, and then took you into some of what I do for my bakery. And if you look at the logo that I designed, actually I had help from the tool that's available in Instagram. I believe it's called Llama 3. I gave it some instructions, and I was actually pleased with what it came forward with. So those of you who are interested in our products can give me a call, contact us on WhatsApp for more snacks. That's what 2 of our pages are devoted to. So that covers May 2024. Once again, thank you for listening. Those of you who have not yet subscribed to our magazine, you will appreciate the information that we share. I believe that we can give you a bit of a different perspective and shed some light on events or issues that are happening in the technology and innovation space in the region. We've got interviews with people that we think are playing an important role in the country and the continent and in the region. We've shared quite a lot on mental health and wellness, on open source systems, we've given you technology event summaries, we've given you our take on local participants or local venture capital groups and angel investing groups. We've shared some perspectives on cryptocurrencies. We've shared insights into technology and innovation ecosystems, so the reach is quite broad. Once again, to subscribe to our magazine, just let us know. It will cost you $24 for 12 issues, and we can send that to your WhatsApp or the email of your choice. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And we look forward to giving you more great content.